Hello grade 8. In this part we are going to take some of the human body systems. We are going to start with the nervous system and the endocrine system. The nervous system is responsible for all your body functions. Any process happening inside your body, whether you can control it or it can happen without your control, it's controlled by the nervous system. The nervous system is made of the structures that control actions and reactions of your body in response to an external stimuli from the environment surrounding you. Like when you touch something very hot, you move your hand very quickly, even without any thinking from your side, because your brain has passed some orders to your hand to move in order not to make a serious damage. The nervous system has two main parts. One is called the central nervous system, which we can say it as CNS, and the peripheral nervous system, which we can call PNS. So starting from now, the central nervous system, we will call it CNS, and the peripheral nervous system, we will call it PNS. Let's start with the central nervous system. The central nervous system is made from two main parts, the brain and the spinal cord. Let's see these parts. Yes, this is the brain inside your skull, and the spinal cord here, this long cord. This is called the spinal cord. The brain is acting like the manager of your body. It controls all processes happening inside your body. The spinal cord, it's like the chain or the connecting part between the brain and other parts of your body to give the orders from the brain to different parts like your hand, your leg, and so on. The peripheral nervous system is responsible for connecting the central nervous system, meaning the brain and the spinal cord, to the rest of your body. The peripheral nervous system includes all the nerves that is present outside the brain and the spinal cord. So what are the types of processes that the nervous system can control? Any process happening inside your body can be classified into two kinds. One, we call it the voluntary processes, and the other one is called involuntary process. The voluntary processes mean that they are the processes that can be controlled. You can control these actions. Like if you want now to talk, you will. If you want to move your arm or to go to the next room, you can do this. It's your decision to do it. So this is the voluntary process. The involuntary process, it's not controlled consciously by yourself, like breathing or your blood circulating inside your vessels, or like your heart when it beats. All these processes are involuntary because they happen without your control. It's controlled, of course, by the brain, but it doesn't need a conscious decision from your side. Okay, what are the parts of the CNS? Remember, the central nervous system, we will call it the CNS. And like we said, it has two main parts, the brain and the spinal cord. Let's start with the brain. The brain has three main parts, cerebrum, cerebellum, and medulla oblongata. Let's see these parts. This is the cerebrum. Actually, there is another part exactly like this because the cerebrum is divided into two cerebral hemispheres. So this is one cerebral hemispheres from the two of the cerebrum. And we also have the cerebellum, this green part, and the purple part is the medulla. Each part from these parts has a certain function. So what is the function of the cerebrum, which by the way is the largest part of the brain? The cerebrum is responsible for thinking, solving problems, and for storing your memories. So the cerebrum is the part responsible for when you remember a happy memory with, let's say, with your friend or with your mother that happened years ago. Also, the cerebrum will control all the voluntary movements, and also it can translate the information from your senses. When you smell a specific smell, a specific perfume, let's say, this is because of the cerebrum that has the ability to translate this odor into specific smell. The second part, which is the cerebellum, is responsible for maintaining your body balance. That's why you are balanced when you walk. And it's also responsible for arranging the movements between different parts of your body. Like when you're dancing, you can move your head, you can move your legs, you can move your hands at the same time. This is what is meant by coordination of movements. The third part, which is called the medulla oblongata, it's part of something called the brain stem, which is the connecting part between your brain and the spinal cord. It's part of the brain stem. So the medulla oblongata, which is what is the function of the medulla oblongata, it controls the involuntary processes in your body. Remember, like the heartbeats, the blood circulation, your breathing, also your stomach when it's digesting food, and so on. Let's move to the second part of the CNS, which is the spinal cord. Like we can see here in the picture, this cord, this is the spinal cord here, and what is surrounding this, the spinal cord? It is surrounded by vertebrae. Vertebrae are the bones surrounding the spinal cord, which are forming the backbone, of course, and they are protecting the spinal cord because it's very fragile. So these bones provide protection in order not to damage the spinal cord. The spinal cord here is responsible for taking messages from the brain to other body parts and from your body parts to the brain. So it can transfer messages both ways.